Colby Chaos Covington is back in the news, not because he has an upcoming fight, but because he got into a backstage scuffle with Paddy The Baddy Pimblett.
Oh, you're fighting scrub. You guys are 2 and 6.
Now, this isn't an anomaly. We've seen similar things with the American for the past decade. He takes any means necessary to be in the limelight, be it fighting with random celebs or fighters from any division.
Brazil, you're a dog! All you filthy animals suck!
2-4 in his last 6 fights that have included 3 title shots where he is 0-3. The narrative is not going in favor of the All-American due to all bark and no bite.
Wait till I see you next time, Marty Fake Newsman! You're dead!
I'm kind of sad to say, but Colby is the black belt, the undisputed UFC champion in online or backstage scuffles.
Greetings, nerds and virgins.
So why is there a need for a stale WWE-inspired bad boy gimmick? Why is he clinging to this outdated persona? And as he fades into irrelevance, will he change?
Don't miss it, snowflakes.
Buckle up, MMA fans. This one's spicy and chaotic from top to bottom. Once upon a time, Colby was the guy at 170. He was supposed to take over the division for years to come. But after 3 failed attempts at the welterweight title, he's gone from a contender to a gatekeeper. And today he's on the outside looking in and is often referred to as a has-been in the division. He had wins over numerous former champions like RDA, Robbie Lawler, and Tyron Woodley, but today he's out here busy throwing jabs online rather than in the octagon.
Oh, the POTUS is calling me. Mr. President!
But before Colby was rocking Trump hats and insulting entire nations for headlines, he was just another elite wrestler trying to make it in the UFC. Good record, solid skills, but sadly zero buzz. He even admitted the UFC was about to cut him. He was about to get the boot. So he had to do something. With nowhere else to go, he turned to his childhood heroes from the pro wrestling world and looked for something spicy. He found a character donned by the American gangster Chael Sonnen and adopted it, literally. A young, humble MMA fighter turned into a WWE athlete overnight. He had found the persona and then it was time for its portrayal. He had a fight lined up against the legend Damian Maia in October of 2016 in his hometown of Sao Paulo, Brazil. After putting a lopsided beating on Maia, Colby jumped on the mic and called the entire crowd filthy animals. That was easy pickings right there, but the American jumped onto it and stretched it to such a degree that he had to be rushed out not only from the arena but also from Brazil. Instant villain arc unlocked. He leaned into the hate, turned the volume all the way up, and suddenly the buzz was real. The UFC execs couldn't ignore it. Conor McGregor, the blue-eyed boy of the UFC, was already in semi-retirement, so the company badly needed someone to be a successor. Up stepped Colby Covington with his Cardio King persona, bringing all the chaos that went missing with Mystic Mac. Love him or hate him, now you knew who he was. And in a sport where attention equals paychecks, that move was low-key genius. The gimmick worked. He became the person you loved to hate. He brought literal WWE elements to the UFC, the trash talk, the props, and the over-the-top interviews. He built his whole brand around being this ultra-patriotic, divisive, loud-mouthed heel. But here's the thing, at first, it was entertaining, it had shock value, it got him title shots. But today, it just feels like too much of a stale, tired version of a MAGA McGregor. And here's the cold, hard truth that Mr. Chaos wouldn't like to hear. This act isn't hitting like it used to. Why? Because we've seen this movie too many times. There are only so many times you can walk into a presser with a fake belt, which you never win, and a script full of recycled one-liners before people start rolling their eyes. While Colby is putting that horrible stale gimmick act out in his public appearances, it looks like a teenage Chael Sonnen wannabe who comes out to steal the spotlight. Oh, you trash the city, you trash the people, you trash your opponents, and you trash their favorite fighters. Colby, how much more of that shtick do you have in you? Because the low-hanging fruit is getting dry, mate. Every single time you come out, you keep on teasing and trashing anyone and everyone out there for that cheap heat that has gone AWOL since we've seen too many wannabes just like this in the game today. And remember, this stuff only really works if you win from time to time. And let's be honest, Colby hasn't won in a while. Bro, we get it. You love Trump. You hate the outsiders. You think everyone else has gone soft. But at some point, where's the evolution? WWE had already done that thing countless times, but even they were frustrated with it. There was a time when Uncle Chael was the one and only to do this and pull it off. That was visionary. Conor came stateside and did it all over again, and it was full of charisma and had a flair to it when he did it. Conor even upstaged Sonnen many times due to his championship runs, but since then, we've seen dozens of fighters in the game who do what Conor was doing. Yoel Romero summed it up best when he said,
"But Conor is Conor."
They're not Conor. They're faking it.
Yeah.
They try too hard.
I say, like this, I make a clap for Conor.
Yeah.
You know, that's his thing. Conor.
That's his thing.
It feels like Colby's stuck in a time loop, like that guy who peaked once and still shows up to events talking about that one time he almost made it big. These days, he ain't even fighting regularly anymore, and the worst part is, whenever he does, he gets dominated badly, like in his past 2 awful performances. Since March 2022, Colby's had 2 fights. That's 2 fights in nearly 2 years, and the first was a title shot which he arguably didn't deserve. Let's not talk about the fight because it was a one-sided beatdown. But everybody remembers that press conference. Chaos talked mad trash there and even managed to poke fun at Leon's deceased father. But when the cage door shut, he got a coast-to-coast beatdown. Perhaps poetic justice. So when you're not backing up the talk with action and the talk itself is getting cornier by the day, what are you even doing? The game has many familiar faces who do that stuff well and somehow win, so it's kind of double jeopardy for the American. He's gone after basically the whole welterweight roster. Kamaru Usman and Colby had a beef that from the outset was too hot, but it was all blurred lines from there.
Wait till I see you next time, Marty Fake Newsman. You're dead!
Who could forget Tyron Woodley? He was the first one to get it. Jorge Masvidal, who used to stay under the same roof as Colby, was on the end of an acrimonious split.
My best friend. Or is my best friend. Or is my best friend.
What the fuck?
It spilled way out of the cage, literal assault charges, and what did Colby do? He ran with it for media clout. He's like that one dude who shows up at an event ready to ignite a brawl just so someone notices him, acting cool while all of this is reported, and now he's aiming at Paddy Pimblett, a lightweight who's not even in his weight class. Colby's pattern is clear. He targets whoever's hot at the moment, not who makes sense to fight. Just whoever has attention so he can leech off it. That's clout chasing 101. We all know this brings clicks, so that's why the media keeps biting. That's the only reason the gimmick is still alive, but even the most loyal fans are starting to check out. During the initial days, Colby's gimmick was epic, a fresh face on the stage. People liked that, but perhaps somewhere down the line, the majority were hoping for a babyface turn, which hasn't come until now. Maybe that's what can save the career of Mr. Covington, or maybe winning some fights. But until then, we'll have to say this gimmick ain't working and it's dead and buried. So now we gotta ask the real question, what does Colby want? Is he chasing legacy, belts? Or is he just trying to stay relevant enough to book the next TMZ headline? If it's legacy, we need to see him in the cage more often. As they say, actions speak louder than words. Now it's just about staying in the limelight for Colby, then congrats, dude. You're basically MMA's version of a Twitter troll with a decent record in the octagon. The truth is, Covington is better than this, or at least he used to be. He's a legit fighter with a resume that speaks volumes to his talent. But all that gets buried under the gimmick, under the fake provocations, the stale shenanigans, and the outdated one-liners. It's come to a point where the act isn't helping but rather hurting the career. So where does he go from here? The majority will agree with me when I say the clock is ticking. Colby's not young anymore. He's 37 in a stacked welterweight division and hasn't put on a dominant performance in a while. There are options out there, but none of them lead to the title. He's in a division where the big names actually fight. They grind and don't rely on gimmicks. The fight game moves fast. The new stars are rising. The days of being famous for being loud are fading. Fans want substance. So if Colby wants to be taken seriously again, the path is clear. Drop the WWE act. Get in the octagon. Stop beefing with random celebs or fighters from different divisions for clout. Show us the fighter in you, not the character. You worry about the fighting, and when I say fighting, I mean the one that goes down in the octagon. It's WrestleMania weekend and WWE is running hot these days, so for better characters and storylines, we can easily switch channels and see better presentation there. And if Colby doesn't pivot, he risks becoming a cautionary tale, the guy who traded a real legacy for some cheap heat. Alright, so that wraps up our take on Colby Chaos Covington, who's stuck in a character that's dragging him down. The gimmick made him famous, but now it's holding him hostage, and maybe, just maybe, It's time to let Mr. Chaos go and get hold of Mr. Colby Covington, the fighter, and make that comeback. And that's what we think. Not sure about Colby. What about you guys? Drop your take in the comments section, smash the like button, and if you're tired of the fake belts and fake beefs, hit subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this from the fight world, and we will see you at the next one.